In this lesson, we're going to play some audio. Quite often in your application, you'll want to play a sound, or perhaps even some music or some recorded voice. In this lesson, we'll show you how to do that from various sources, whether it be file sources, app resources that you embed in your application, or even device ringtones. So our application has buttons for each one of those, and of course a stop to stop the sound. And here's our activity. The key behind this is a media player object, which is in the Android Media namespace. And we do implement a media player on completion listener interface. I've got an MP3 file in the assets, and I'm going to move that file down into the music directory. We did this sort of thing in the file storage lesson, so if you haven't taken a look at that, you might want to. So we move the file, and then we create our button handlers. When we play the file, we convert the file path into a URI. We new up an audio player. We set its data source to the URI. We set its on completion listener, which we'll get to in a little bit. We prepare it, and we start it. Now the on completion listener is called when the audio file is completely played. And at that point, we want to stop the player and release it. We also have a resource, which we added a folder called raw in our resources, and the same audio file, and a very similar way of setting up the player. Again, we new up a new player, and we set the data source. This time, we open the raw resource and get the resource Kalimba and its file descriptor. And the rest is the same in terms of the player. And finally, if we want to play a ringtone, we just set the data source to a default ringtone URI. And then our stop button is pretty simple. We just stop the player and release it. So let's see what this sounds like. So here's our app. And that's a jazzy little tune, and we'll play it from the resource. Now I would play the ringtone, but the emulator doesn't have it properly set up, and it basically blows up, which is a good reason to have a try-catch in all of this. So that's how to play audio files. In our next lesson, we're going to find out how to record them.